I got these at Costco about 2 months ago. They've been sitting around for a while. These are 12-inch tall. And then I was at a different Costco, and this one, this 15-inch one, was being sold by itself. Well, I'm thinking that's a great opportunity, so I picked this one up because I've got 3 out front, but they haven't been working forever. You know, those sensors just don't work very well. And, you know, I'd rather just flip them on and have them on and not have to worry about whether or not they're going to come on or not when I flip them on. Flip them on and you go on. Turn them off, you go off. That's how lights should work. These are going out front, by the way, on front of the house. Large one by the front door, 12 inches, opposite sides of the garage door. So I got to replace these, hoping you'll hang out with me. There's the front door. And then there's that old and busted guy right there. See, these sensors, they just don't work for very long and they go out. So I'm gonna replace that thing there. Here. And I got that one there. That's gonna be one of the 12-inch ones. That one's just a hole in the wall. So there's our light switch. And I think one of the biggest issues that people think about is that they have to turn off the breaker. This one right here is going to take the power from the breaker to this light switch, and that's what's going to send the power from this light switch out to our lights outside. So, in order to keep that from happening while I'm working on it, I'm gonna tape that off. Now, I probably shouldn't have done that just then because that's gaffer's tape over this painted wood, and I'll probably tear that paint off. I'd rather that and fix that than get lit up like a firecracker. Hey there, bro. How you doing? You want to change this light, right? It's all you. All right, I'm gonna shut this now. All right, bye. I'm gonna take this thing off the wall. It's just gonna be these 2 bolts right here. And they're only hand tight. We'll support it on there. I'm gonna let that fall, watch where it goes on accident. I'm gonna grab this one in my pocket. And just pull it right out. Watch out for any spiders in there. For me, lights should go on when they're flipped on and turned off when they're flipped off. I'm hoping I can reuse this body right here. I'm just gonna undo this, get the white off, get the black off. And I've got it, see, those are pigtailed together because it's coming one from the power and one's carrying on the electricity to the other lamp. And the other one will do the same thing to the far lamp, which is why there's only one set of wires in the far lamp. So that they're all turning on at the same time with the same switch. Wrapped around there, so that's out right there, done. That's how fast. Because I don't like spider eggs, I'm just gonna go ahead and vacuum that up. So I'm looking at this thing here. These are too long. They're gonna stick out too far from this unit. Now's a good opportunity to crack this thing open and see what the connector is like. Oh, it comes with a nice cute LED bulb. Put in the new, that's pretty good looking, this new bracket. And I may or may not be able to use the old one. Good look and see what it looks like before. I don't have to worry about the wires because it's all turned off, right? The power. So I'm going to push that one through here and just take a look and see if this is going to be too long. And they are. They're way too long, sticking way out. Or perhaps the whole unit here I could change out with the new crossbar that comes with it. And then these will already be set. In order to get these stabilized and grabbing hold right here where you want them, we're going to sink these down to where this bracket pulls this against the brick. As long as these are sticking out far enough as you need them, that'll do. So I'm going to go ahead and take my handy little snap-on deal here, find my flathead. I don't really want to use, I mean, I could set the clutch on my drill to do this, but I don't really want to do it because I want to be careful not to overdo it and bend it up like crazy. So I'm just going to pull this, use this to pull this back to grab this on the front of the brick so it stays put. All the time I just want to make sure that this is straight. I do want to have access to that plug right, or that ground right there. If you're not careful. You can tweak this in and then these will bend in and you won't be able to actually grab it. Looks like we're doing all right though. Well, this has other wires that are pigtailed into the sensor. We don't need to worry about those right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this ground hooked up first, because we're gonna need the most room to work with that ground. And I want to get her up and around. That ground is good and in there. With that done, I can risk just hanging this a little bit from the ground while I hook these up. And I'm going to take my old wire nuts, because they're a little bit bigger gauge and they're going to fit my tire. Again, one of these comes in from the switch, one of them goes out to the next light, so that when power is given, it powers all 3 lights. And that's called a pigtail. So we get all these 3 tucked together and get this wire nut on there all the way to where it starts yanking the cables around against each other. Then you know you got a really good turn. See, it's turning them again now to each other. That's good. And now we're gonna do the same thing with the whites. The metal wire nut, because it's big. Pull this out a little bit to work with. And get that completely on there. Cranking it down to where it's turning on itself, just like that. All right. Now we tuck these back in where they're well out of the way. Feed these wires underneath. And then we get this plugged right in there. It appears we do not have enough coming out of here. I want to change these out, put longer ones in. There you go, about a 1/4 inch longer on both sides. That looks pretty good. That should give us enough. I'm just leaning my body against it right now. It's the brick, and I'm gonna reach in there and grab that thing. Anything I can do to make it easier on myself, to free up my hands, I like to do. So if I can just use my chest and lean up against this light against the brick, as long as I'm not scraping it around or nothing. It's already an oil rubbed bronze, so it's probably gonna have a distressed look anyhow, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'm gonna hand tight here until I need. We got longer bolts on now. It's kind of a pain in the neck, but you gotta do what you gotta do, right? I mean, you wanna make it work, so you wanna do the best you can, make it work. So now we're gonna tuck these wires. Hopefully, a lot of them will just stay in the back flat of this thing here, so. Now we wanna just see how this thing fits through here. There's 1, there's 2. So hopefully now our nuts will cover, our decorative nuts will cover this thing, and it's going to be close. So let's put these little grommets on there, these little O-rings on there first. And we might have to take this back off and try it again, but I think this is going to be good. Alright, that grabs it pretty good. And now this side, little O-ring. And we'll just let the nut push that O-ring back. I'll hold it against the wall to support it. Tighten that up. We're in pretty good shape. Flat against this wall, which is nice, or this brick right here. It's off a little bit here and here. Now I could silicone that, but we've got this eave right there. I'm not too concerned about it. We can't put a light bulb in this now. Crazy looking light. our light works. All right, this is part 2, the second one. Just push it in. It's pretty tight, but hand tight. Again, it's gonna come right out and reveal our guts. Again, we're taped off in there, so we're gonna just take this side off. Hold on to this. Interesting enough, this is not pigtailed, so I'm curious what's happening inside of this thing. So this 12-inch is a little bit smaller, but it's going to fit right on there. It must be pigtailed in the light switch because there's only one set of wires coming out here, which means that only one was coming from that front, and it's not pigtailed to go to the other light on the other side. However, I'm not concerned about that. Nuts right here, and it's holding on this bit right here. I'm just going to take that out. And the O-rings. New crossbar off. And I'm going to test and see how far out this is going to be coming. Probably a mile. Yeah, look at that. It's got to go back. So I can probably put the new ones on there actually. Pretty easy there. A little bit of WD-40. And that will keep it from turning. And that should be level right there. Out it goes. That should do us pretty well right there. So these are the larger gauge. We want a smaller gauge because there's just two wires, so that would do it. Now we're wired up. We're going to tuck these in. This. Let these hang out in back there. And that looks like it's going to do pretty well. O-ring. Decorative nut. Hopefully that's not too long out right now. Okay, it's a little loose in there, so we're going to take it back off. That'll do us better right there. Gotta find the other O-ring that I hid from myself up here. Now we crank these down hand tight all the way down, and it looks like it's gonna be grabbing really well. That is much better. I'm gonna be happy with that. And that looks like it is good to go. I followed the same procedure on the third lamp to the right of the garage. I did notice that as I got it hooked up, I had to use some gaffer's tape to cover the sensors on the top of the lights in order to get the light to work to test them out. I did find this to be a pretty straightforward process. You could do this light change at your house for pretty cheap. I'm going to talk about the pricing in just a moment. Now, if you're still watching this video and you're getting something out of it, hit that subscribe button, click the bell notification, and hammer that like button. Come on, what are you doing? It really helps with the algorithm, and it'll help me grow the channel. I appreciate you. All right, I'm just going to cover out the sensor, test the light. One light. Two lights. All right, looking good. We've got brand new front porch lights. Thanks for hanging out with me as I changed these lights out. It was a good time. Pretty quick projects. Pretty simple lighting thing. If you want to change your porch lighting, follow along on this thing. It worked out pretty easily. Again, I'm not an electrician, you guys. Homeowner, DIYer. That pair of lights that I got box was 35 bucks. The single was 20 bucks. So under 60 bucks, and I got all new porch lights in here, and it came with LEDs. So pretty fired up about that. Equity in the house. See y'all next time.